Thanks, pal. Morning, Carlos. Hope you're well. Can we start with your team news for tomorrow's trip, please?
What does you need to know?
I was going to ask, actually, how was Alex Vallejo after the Blackburn game? I know he came off with a bit of a knock. Is he all okay?
He was having a pain in the knee. He was receiving a medical assist. He is now with the doctors, and I don't know how it's going to be until finish the training. Until 10:30, I will know with more details. And let's see, he can training. If he training, he is going to be one of the options that we have for tomorrow. If he cannot training, he's not going to be in the group.
So other than Alex, is the squad you had for Tuesday, is that all the same other than Alex?
Yes, all the players that were available on Tuesday it's only Alex, the player that cannot be available. And now the same, Hoggy and Cole will have the medical assist now. And before the training, I will know if they can training. If they can train after the training, I will know if they react well from the training and they are ready for tomorrow, or they are out of the group.
Brilliant, thank you. In terms of timescales for the other players who are out, Aaron, Jordan, Ryan, Pieper, are the timescales still roughly the same?
Yes, we'll continue with our work with any of these four players, because Pipa is the normal. So we know that Pipa has more time. We know that Rhodes is exactly the same. He needs more time. But after Aaron Rhodes, still, like I said, in the last press conference, when the previous press conference, he will be out, I think, 3-4 weeks more. And with Schofield, the idea from the medical point of view is that he will come back during the international break. They don't know if it's going to be in the first part of the international break or in the second week of the international break. But the medical opinion is that he could be ready to start to training with the group in the second part of during the international break.
Lovely, thanks. Tuesday night, Carlos, how do you reflect on that and the character your team showed? You were pegged back twice in that game, but you still came away with the 3 points. How pleasing was that?
Pleased, of course, we are pleased when we win one game, and especially in a demanding situation, always is pleased for everyone. But I have to analyze the reasons why I was looking, the reasons why I understand that was in the back of the winning. First of all, for the positive first minutes of the team, because for me, the team saw a very good energy in the first minutes of the game. After these moments, after these minutes, for me, the team was knowing or have good adaptation to the demands of the game, trying to attack and extend the attacks in offensive half when was necessary to play, be very solid in the moments where they took the ball and try to attack, because if you are not solid against teams with a lot of possibilities in attack, you can suffer chances. And for me, the team was controlling well these moments. After use again our moment to attack to score the goal, and after being very focused to defense and manage, for me, enough well the last minutes of the first half. The second reason why for me the team get the 3 points was for the reaction after the moments of the goals, because in that moment you can just be thinking that you are not going to have option in the game, or you just to react and continue showing that you believe in you, that you can go for the game. And for me, the team did this twice, because we were beaten 2 times by more individual action of them, more for individual quality of their strikers than for any collective thing. But for me, the team saw a good reaction after these 2 points, the first goal or the second point, that saw or allow the team to go for the 3 points. So for me, the reaction is something very, very positive and necessary to compete the championship games.
Yeah, we've seen good reaction from your side so far this season. Last season, there was moments your side would take the lead and would concede an equaliser and go on to lose the game. So what differences have you seen in your squad this season? Is it a strength of character that's different?
I don't know. In the last year, we have different, for example, I can understand the game against Blackburn was similar to the game against Blackburn 1 year ago, or the previous season, because the team was winning 1-0. We have chances to make the second goal. They draw the game and the team react, and Navi Sarr scored his second goal on that game with one pass of Pipa in behind, and Sarr scored one amazing goal, and we won that game. But instead to be 3-2 was 2-1. So being honest, I'm watching a reaction from the team the last year too. But now I need to analyze this squad, and for me, this squad has the skills enough to can react. You have enough players for me that can help from the first 11 or from the bench players that you can use, and they can have a positive impact to continue making the positive things that the team was doing and to give more freshness or correct some things that the team didn't manage well before you use the sub players. So for me, more than compare the season, the team between the last season or that season, I need to tell you that it's necessary to have this character to can react after concede goals or until be suffering some complicated moments. That is important always to have this type of character to react from these moments.
And in terms of confidence, Carlos, going into the Blackburn game, if we go back a little bit, it was 2 defeats before then. Was yourself firstly, and were the squad always confident that they could put things right against Blackburn?
I think all the squad know how difficult it is to win every game. So it means that we know that Nottingham Forest will be a complicated game. We knew that Swansea will be a complicated game. We knew that Blackburn will be a tough game. And we know that Luton is going to be another tough game. So for me, the key is to know how are the championship games. As soon as you go to one game thinking that it's an easy game, football shows you very fast that any game in the championship can be managing from the relaxed point of view. So for me, you need to go every game with the confidence that you can compete again, but at the same time with enough self-demanding that you need to do a lot of good things to can compete the game and to can go for the result that we want to get.
I asked Danny this from a playing point of view. Expected goals, XG. I don't know how much you and your staff read into that, but your side was second this week in the amount of XG. How much attention do you pay to that, Carlos, and your staff?
Being honest, sometimes I don't. It's one point that is like the proof of one feeling that you can have. You can have the feeling that your team is creating chances, and you know if the team is creating chances, or you know if the team is not creating chances. But more than to see how many chances, you need to see we always want to create chances. So of course we always want to put our number of goals high, and the option to score the goals higher because it means that the team is attacking enough well. But when these numbers of chances that we want to create doesn't appear, we need to be looking why we are not creating the chances that we should create. And in the opposite way, when the opponent is creating more chances that they can create, you need to analyze why they are creating chances. Sometimes for me, football is the moments in football, the attack and defense are just together. So sometimes you cannot separate these two moments. Sometimes you concede chances because you are not defending well, and sometimes you concede chances because you are not attacking well. Sometimes you create chances because you attack well, and sometimes you don't create chances because you are not defending well, then you are not having recoveries of the ball, then you cannot go for the attacking moment. That's why for me, for example, the change that we did with Turton, for me was not a defensive change. Was that I needed to see that the team was balanced in defense to can attack well, and I needed to feel that the team was attacking well to after can defense well too. So sometimes in football, the attack and defense are too close to can separate these moments. So it's clear that the goal expectation is an important value because it means that you are close to can score one goal, even knowing that in football, one team can score one goal in one chance, and you can have 20 chances not to score the goal. But the more chances you have, the more options you are going to have to score the goals.
And when you look at a game like Blackburn, or we look back to Reading, when you've created those high chances in those games, you've come away scoring quite a few goals. You know, it's much better when you see, oh, Huddersfield Town had the highest XG but didn't score. Does it show to you that if you are in the creative mood and your players are getting into those positions, that you will reap those rewards?
I think it's for Huddersfield, and I think it's for every team in the world. The more chances you create, the more also you're going to have to score. The key is how you arrive to these moments. To have many chances is to avoid the chances of the opponent. For me, this is what, in different ways, every team wants. Some teams are going to be more creative, giving more passes. Another teams are going to be more directly. Another teams are going to just to try to take throw-ins, because with the throw-ins they can create after this type of situation. So it's important that every team find a way how create chances and find a way how avoid chances of the opponent.
And just a word on Danny Ward, Carlos. He
Yes.
mentioned when we were talking just previously, he had a difficult season last season for him personally. Just how pleasing was it for you as his coach to see him get his rewards on Tuesday night?
I think it's very important for the team to have the best version of each player. It's very important for our team to have the best version of our strikers.
And from Danny Ward, who's quite an experienced player now, to another player in Brahim Diarra signing his contract extension yesterday. Do you have a word on Brahim?
I think Brahim is one player that is the product of the work of the academy. So when I see players in the academy with a lot of potential, and I'm watching the team, the work that this club is doing with the academy players, I think is just fantastic, because I have been working in different clubs. But the not only the dream, the joy, the work in the back that the academy, starting from the sport director Librombi and after with the director of the academy and the coaches that they are doing with the young players is a lot, and it's very quality for me work to help them to give the step to the first team. That always is a challenge step, because we can insist a lot in the player. We can work with many players, but not every player at the end is able to make that step. But in this club, the level of determination to make that our young players pass this line and be one day in the first team is very high. So for me, Brahima is just one of these players where the club has a lot of determination to make him arrive. And I think Brahima have the conditions. But after, it's not only about the conditions or the determination. There is one part of the players that need to prove that they are ready and they continue giving the step that they need to give. But for me, it's a very positive movement for the club.
He had a couple of appearances last season for the first team. Can you envisage Brahima having a run out this season? Is he ready to be called upon should the moment arise?
I am watching that. First of all, the players that we have in the first team are competing for me enough well. Brahima is one player that his main position is midfielder, and I am watching like players that another players are in front of him, like can be another of the young players that can be fighting in this position, and they are in the first team because for me they have more age, more mature, like can be Scott High, for example. Players right now we have Hoggy, we have Vallejo, we have Scott High, we have Luis O'Brien in the middle. Holmes can play in the middle, Sinani can play in the middle too. And after in the academy we have Brahima, we have Huddersfield, we have Russell, another midfielder with experience in the Championship, in the League One. Even Rhys Brown, another player with experience in the League One. So there are many, for me, good players and many good young players in the middle of the pitch. But for me, I don't care about how many minutes they are having now in the first team. I am very focused to see which teams they need to be an important players in Huddersfield in the first team one day. So more than be thinking how many minutes one player can have right now, because sometimes the minutes doesn't represent what we need. What we need is to create players or make players ready to face the demands of the Championship. So more than if they play some minutes or they don't play some minutes, it's important what they need to be one day in the first team.
Looking ahead to Saturday, Carlos, Luton had a big win on Wednesday night, but so did Blackburn before you played them. What have you made to Luton's start to the season? They've had quite a lot of draws this season, but they proved on Wednesday they're going to be a dangerous opponent.
I think I am totally concentrating the battle that this game is going to be. The game the other day didn't surprise me. Luton have played more games away than plays at home. Luton have had some injuries that didn't allow them to have the full squad. I think right now they are playing the games at home, and right now they are having the full squad to compete at games. I think playing at home is one very dangerous team because they have one high level of competitiveness and energy. That means that you need to go to that pitch with the right mentality, because if not, they can surprise you. But we will do everything that we need to do to don't be surprised with one opponent that they compete the games in the level that we were watching the last night against Coventry.
Carlos, we're 10 games in now and Huddersfield sits 7th. We say back here that after around 10, 11 games, you start to get a feeling of how the table's shaping up. Do you pay any attention to that at all?
I pay attention to arrive to every game with the right mentality. If we go to Luton without the right mentality, it's going to be impossible to win that game. The only important thing is to make the table consequence of the good performances. So if we want to continue being in a good position in the table, we need to always arrive to the game with a good mentality. This
Brilliant.
is my only focus.
Brilliant. Thanks, Carlos. Best of luck for tomorrow.
Thanks, Louis. Steve, we'll come to you, please.
Sorry, I'm in trouble there. Hi, Carlos. You had a lot. You seem to have a lot more sort of variety in attack the other night, and particularly when it came to the crosses. We've not seen too many, at least from my memory, high crosses into the box, and you got 2 goals from them. Is that something you've been encouraging the side to work on?
Always we try to improve this type of situation, but not always you are going to have this quality of deliveries or this quality of heading. But for me, it's important to win confidence, because the crosses, you have 2 types of finishing situation: the finishing or to finish the attack, the normal finishings or the crosses. For me, we need to manage very well these 2 aspects, because sometimes you can, especially against the line of 5, when they put 3 central backs in the middle, sometimes the finishing from the middle are more complicated than to make a crossing from the sides. So it's always important to continue improving our deliveries, even if we have good deliveries before, or even if we have some good deliveries the other day. Doesn't mean we need to continue making the best in this type of situation, using in the best way our options to attack and to can score 1 goal.
When you have a game like that the other night, where it's very attacking from both teams, does that help the side to understand, oh, this is what can work, we could do this again?
Yes, but like I told you the other day, for me, again, some teams are going to make that this happen more, and other teams are going to, like, they are more focused to attack. They are going to be, I cannot say this protect, but they are going to be a little bit less focused in defense. So one team, for example, like the team that we were playing the other day, they were having many offensive players in the pitch. As soon as you have more offensive players in the pitch, your attack is going to have maybe this level of energy, but at the same time, the attack of the opponent can have a good level of energy too, or fluently too. So the idea is always to find a good balance between our defensive structure and our attacking structure. But always we are one team that if we find the conditions to attack, we are going to try to use. In some games, you can see all the advantages that appear switch more to the possibility of the players. And other games may that this happen more difficult, or is more difficult to find this type of solutions. Our idea is always the same: trying to attack if we can attack. But the opponent made that sometimes this intention happen more, or this intentional behaviors happen less. So what is the key? To prepare one team that be ready to face any type of opponent with any type of context. That this is what always I insist. That will be my dream as a coach.
That's all from me. I think Louis had everything I had. Thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Dave. Stu, we'll come to you, please.
Hi, Carlos. It was very noticeable, looking back on the reports for Tuesday's game, that a lot of the things that happened were things you talked about in Monday's press conference. So presumably to the team as well. How pleasing is it that the team obviously took on board the things that you were saying so well and put them into practice? I
think we know which one are our strengths, and every time that we go to the pitch, we need to defend these strengths. Always is a challenge, because for me, the opponents are going to try to minimize our strength that we try to do with the opponents. So for me, it's very important to have this point of mentality to arrive to the game, beat the difficulty, and try to show what you are able to do. I think all the group of players, they know what we are. They know what we have to do in the pitches to make differences. Sometimes we can, sometimes it's more tough, and we need to have determination and consistency to try to see in the pitching to show what we are able to do. So always important when I see that the team know their skills, believe in their skills, and especially when we show our skills, because we can talk. My way to communicate with the fans or with the people is talking, like I'm doing with you. But after the way how our players communicate with the people, the language is different. It's not talking, it's with facts, it's with football behaviors, it's with actions. So always, unlike when the team show the strengths that we have as a team.
And just with regards to Danny Ward, I mean, we always say how important it is for a striker to score a goal early when they join a club. And we've seen many strikers across the history of the game who've come into a club, had a long spell without scoring, and never really recovered from it. So what does it say mentally about Danny that he's been able to put that last season behind him and produce what he has this season?
First of all, it's something necessary. Because when you are having this complicated moment, it's necessary that you change this feeling, and you First of all, Danny is a special case. Let me change the direction of my answer. Because he arrived to the club and directly he was injured. He couldn't make the first game in the club. And the last year, for me, more than half goals or no goals, was impossible that we can see something in Danny Ward, because in any moment of the season, he achieved one enough good physical level. As soon as he was playing 2 games, he had the problem with the injury, and we need to give a step back. So for me, the last year, we cannot evaluate the full performance of Danny Ward the last year because he couldn't have the normal number of trainings or number of games to can evaluate this. So, but was necessary to change the reality. So the first thing was the character to change the reality. One reality that didn't allow Danny to training or to compete against, to one reality where Danny Ward start to have trainings and start to have games. After in this new reality for Danny Ward, for me, I can differentiate two moments. In the first moment, for me, Danny Ward was more focused to be available than focused to have performances. And I can understand this because I understand the way where he come from. So when you arrive from one season, when you have many injuries, your first target is to have enough number of trainings, number of games, availability that may you recover the confidence with your body, the confidence in you. The second step is one step that for me started in the previous international break, where Danny have to start to be concentrated to make difference in the pitch, not just to be available for the team. Because the first step is to be available, but the second step is to work, not just to be in the team, work to can make an impact in the game. And this is for me the second step that was important to see the other day in the game. The new challenge is going to be to extend your good performances every 2 days, every 1 week, and with the time to continue be available player, but not only available, to continue be a one player who can give positive performance with availability to the team.
And can I just ask you about your time as an under-23 coach? Charlie Cresswell, as you know, will have made his Premier League debut last week. What does that do for the coaches who's worked with him? And the same when Scott Hyde, for example, made his debut for Huddersfield. What does that do for the feeling around the football club and the feeling of those coaches who's helped to develop a player?
I think first of all, I know Chris well because I was working with him when I was managing the games of the 23s, and he was training with the first team. For me, the consequence to see Chris well playing in the Premier League was the consequence of his determination as a player, because he's one lad with a lot of determination, ready to beat any difficulty to achieve what he wants to achieve. And second, for me, was the determination of Bielsa to work along with to develop young players in the needs of the high level of football. I was watching that game and I was watching Juan Criswell competing really well. So for me, it was the mix between to have the coaches with determination and making one work with the young players, and young players knocking the door every single day to come have one day the opportunity and to be ready to use the opportunity when the opportunity appears. I think as soon as one of these two parts doesn't work, it's more difficult. But if I need to select one, it's always for me the determination of the player more than the determination of any coach. Because this is the history of football. Many players have arrived with different coaches. So what does it mean? That for me are not the coaches we make the difference. Are the players that are the ones that make the difference, are the ones that are knocking the door, are the ones that are making every necessary thing to achieve the dream that many people have in the world, but not everyone is ready to pay the price, to make the necessary effort to arrive to the professional level, because arrive to the professional level is very, very, for me, very demanding, with a lot of commitment from the players' point of view.
But I mean, do you think for a football club generally, it's obviously something Huddersfield are very focused on, trying to develop young players? Do you think when a Lewis O'Brien comes into the first team, a Sorba Thomas, a player like that, do you think it's obviously good for the club financially, but do you think for the sort of morale of the football club, it means more, it's better if a player has come through the youth system than if a player has been brought in? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I think see academy players playing the first team is one of the best feelings for the fans, for the clubs, for the coaches, for everyone, because it means that you are doing one part of the job, especially that studying academies and finish with the first team. So if we wouldn't like this job, we wouldn't have academy. So the meaning of the academy is to create this. So every time you are watching one player from the academy to arrive to the first team, for me, it's a very great news for the full club. Like you say, financially, it's not the same to spend 20 million in one player that to have your player and promote your player. You don't have to spend this money one player. The player arrive from your work. So this is something for me unbelievable too. But to have this type of situation more, it's important to have this profile of player, like I told you, with a lot of determination. You put me two examples, O'Brien and Sorba Thomas, and if you analyze the quality that they have, both players are determination and hard work. Both are ready to make the necessary thing to arrive to that level. So I think it's important to analyze what is in the back of the player that arrives to the first team to see which skills the young player need to have. Because sometimes we talk a lot about the tactically things or technically things, but there is one part of be ready have the character and the determination to arrive to the first team that if they don't have, is more complicated to achieve.
Thank you very much, Carlos. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Stu. Alfie, thanks for your patience.
No worries. Hi, Carlos. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Good stuff. Obviously, Alex Vallejo and Jonathan Hogg have been assessed ahead of tomorrow. If they're both absent, is somebody like Scott High, who you brought on in the week, has he got your confidence and your backing to play that defensive midfield role in your system?
Yes, if Vallejo doesn't play and Hoggy doesn't play, Scott High will start again.
Yep, that's brilliant. That's all I had to ask.